This is the launch tower at Lake um, Raffle or whatever. It's in Washington. It's the Cosmos launch tower, actually, for the Cosmos Space Station that the Russia had. That well, I tasked Russia with taking care of it, but it was launched from this site here. In fact, for 3 to 5 years or so, they did nothing but rocket launches. It was a world collaboration rocket launch, and that tower was built to launch the rocket and also observe how the rocket launched. Also to see which way it was going because there was no um, the Cosmos Space rockets had no failsafe. It went where it went. So people they had to also alert towns if it went off course or whatever, they had to calculate trajectories very quickly. It's a good thing that no towns were actually taken out by a stray rocket because they launched quite a few rockets from there and there were no failsafes on any of those rockets. They launched and that was it. Either they went up or they didn't, or wherever they went, it was where they're going. So there was a small danger to people, but they only launched one big one and lots of little ones. Later on, I think they did do the fail-safes. That was the beginning of the fail-safes in the rockets. In case they went off trajectory, they could blow them using a radio signal. But the first rockets launched from there had no fail-safes. They launched, and that was that. They were, this was back before flight, really. They dropped 20,000 pounds of sodium metal inside there, and the lake's fine now. I mean, this is like probably almost at least 100. It was a long time ago. There was no lake there. The lake was literally built for the specific task of doing rockets. Somewhere in there is there's a launch pad buried underneath the silt, and probably the stands as well. I told them to go ahead and leave them down there. The lake was made so they could keep it at a certain level and they could let it raise up. There's also a secondary dam that I believe they took out. That was the pool, and they would allow water to go out or allow water to whatever. And there's a big dam at the end that allows for water to go up higher or go down lower and stuff like that, and also allow stuff. Anyway, though, this was a long, long time ago when they were first doing rockets, and that's how I own my own space station and my own rocket, because my people were inventing rocket fuel at the time and rockets. The main booster for the Cosmos rocket was a solid rocket booster, which I've posted about quite a bit. Anyway, though, but that's the story behind that tower right there, and the train tracks up on the higher spots, the concrete with the train tracks on it. Those were for the stands to fall back. At first, they used 4 stands around the rocket to keep the rocket steady, but then later on they made it so they figured out that they only had to do 1, and they did that later on. They adapted for other rockets for that, but for quite a while there, that place was the humanity's basic missile program by my direction. I used to be a very hands-on kind of ruler, kind of owner of a company, and then I kind of stopped being that. I was a very young child at the time, though, like 5 years old, 6 years old. I was the youngest, most powerful person in the entire world. Possibly still am. But yeah, that's my history right there. By my direction, those things were built and done. We've quickly moved past that with the Apollo programs and everything else, the International Space Station, but that's where humanity learned to go to space, and that's where the sky's the limit boy became the the snow boy. The snow's coming, and everything else. And basically, I was always Lucifer. I was an inventor, tree of life, tree of knowledge and stuff. Lucifer. I basically taught people how to do things more than just play around in the dirt. They could actually build things and do amazing, awesome things with my inventions. And I invented a lot of things very quickly once I got to it. The problem really was more like, it's hard for people to describe their problems, and then me just invent something on the fly. But usually I could. Usually you could just describe a situation, and I could rattle off some commands and get someone through the night, basically. And I did that quite a bit with a lot of the canals, a lot of the other things. So my history is rather relative. But yeah, that lake right there, there should be a launch pad, and there's other launch pads around there. There's also rice paddies up higher in the mountains. If you go way the hell up there, you'll see some land that's mildly flooded that's perfect for rice paddies, and that's because the Japanese were there growing rice, and they liked the rice, and they did rice paddies and stuff. And Russians were there, Germans were there, Americans were there, of course, because America. Every nation collaborated. If there was gypsies, they would have been there. Like every race was collaborating on that. So, and I was helping as well, in my way.